copies of the Home Institute, posting in Borough Hall, filing copies of the Borough Clerk within 7 days of the annual organization meeting of this body. I now ask you to rise for an invocation given by Councilwoman Insero, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to take a moment to contemplate these matters at hand, but also I'd like everyone to keep the people of the Ukraine in their thoughts and wish for peace there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Katie, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Wallace.
Here.
Councilwoman Rasmussen.
Here.
Councilwoman Insero. Here. Councilman Grazel.
Here.
Councilman Camerano.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Council President Muldoon is absent, and filling in as the acting Council President would be Councilman Camerano.
Your Honor, I move we open the agenda session.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, are there any items for the agenda
I
session?
have one housekeeping item. Resolution 2014-61 is being held. So, is that correct, Bill? The
Yes,
deferred compensation.
correct.
Okay,
So that'll be off the agenda.
okay.
I have a few items, Mayor.
Yes.
Over the past week or two, there's been a lot of discussion on social media about the state of our downtown. And I think we've all received in our email a copy of a survey and a letter about what residents would like to see downtown. And so I'd like to move that at the next council meeting we have a discussion about downtown business issues based on the email we received and, you know, the other things that I've been reading and I think some other council people have been reading.
What's the council's flavor on that?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay.
I mean, if you haven't had a chance to read your email today, there was a release of a survey that some residents put together, and it's pretty thoughtful and pretty detailed as to some ideas and suggestions, so I'd be open to hearing them and talking about them, because I think they've put a lot of work, but more importantly, I think they've been very thoughtful and come up with some reasonable ideas.
There's also a Development Commission meeting on Wednesday.
Right on Wednesday. From what I understand, there will be some people that were involved in that discussion on social media, and the collection of the survey will be coming on Wednesday, so I can bring some of that back at our next meeting also.
They may even want to make a formal presentation to us at the next council meeting. And for people at home, if you have a Facebook account, or even if you don't have a Facebook account, you can just look for the page, Take Back Metuchen's Main Street, I believe it's called, and you can see what the discussion is. I have another item.
Yes.
It's for the borough administrator. I'd like to know how you think we've done since the start of the year with snow removal, how it's impacted our budget, how is DPW faring. There was an article in the Star Ledger Sunday about a shortage of asphalt. So I wanted to know a little bit about, is there going to be a schedule for road repair once weather gets better? The whole kit and caboodle, really.
I think we should leave all the big potholes to slow traffic down. Just kidding.
Right.
It's better for pedestrian safety.
To diverge it through other towns. Actually, our pothole repair has been ongoing over the winter. Unfortunately, with the freezing and thawing, the material does not stay in. As spring comes around and the road surface warms, we will be making more permanent repairs, and that's on an ongoing basis. So far, I have not had an opportunity to look at all of the overtime that we have, but we do not have crews sitting around in idle vehicles waiting for the first snowflakes to fall as the state does. So therefore, our overtime is spent on actual snow removal activities. It is most likely going to be somewhat higher than in prior years, but we'll cover that in the budget and go from there.
I've received some complaints about the plowing of parking lots, and I know that's the parking authority. Some of it is borough or some of it is parking authority. Can anyone address that?
I have addressed it with the parking authority more, not the parking lot itself, but the sidewalks were not done to the standard that I think should have been. And that is the parking authority's issue. It's been brought to their attention, and they were trying to address it. It's been a difficult year with the ice, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be out cleaning the walks. So, and I understand, you know, I've been around town all over, and it's been a tough year. It's been a tough year. The ice makes it more difficult. I know that there were people that complained about when the plows went by and put snow back into their aprons. If somebody out there finds a way to do that, let us know. We could make quite a few dollars finding a way to plow streets without putting it back into aprons. But the parking authority has been put on notice. Tom Crownover, the director, has been told about the sidewalks particularly. On the New Street side, were not really done adequately at all.
Were any commercial property owners cited for not shoveling?
That would have to be an issue with the police, I'm not sure.
Not that I'm aware of, no. There were a number of instances where the zoning officer contacted individuals about the lack of snow removal on their sidewalks. I don't believe any summonses were issued.
Anything else?
No, but speaking of the zoning officer, it reminded me that maybe for the next council meeting, I wonder if it would be good to have him here if we're talking about downtown businesses, because some of the discussion has to do with the appearances of some of the buildings and how things are kept up. So I'm wondering if it would be useful to have him here for that.
Well, the one issue is that he is usually off on Mondays.
Right.
So we would have to make some way of compensating him or comp timing him for another day. So I'll let that be up to Bill.
Okay. Because he's only here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right?
No, he's here Tuesday through Friday.
Tuesday through Friday. Okay.
And also to continue the snow discussion, I noticed myself when I was shopping downtown a few days after the snow, when some things were cleared, there seemed to be where the meters were mountains of snow, so that if you parked there, you would literally have to climb up 3 feet or so to try to get over to get to a business. So my question is, if we want people to shop downtown, who makes the effort to clear it, that maybe we could get it all into the street and then get it removed so that people wouldn't be forced to climb over, you know, mountains of snow?
Can I?
Yes, don't.
I think DPW did, after the first storm, go out at night, that Friday night, I believe, a couple days, day or two after the storm, and using front-end loaders and dump trucks, removed as much of that as they could. I just think the storms caught up with them, and the resources weren't there to continually be out there. It's difficult. And then the big problem is, and Fred Hall and I have spoken about this, very often the roads are plowed before the sidewalks are cleared.
Right.
So you may, even if you were to take all the, you can't move it, but it creates that big mound that you're talking about. And unless they have the time, and they have to do it at night for the most part because of cars. So it's very difficult to do. They do make the attempt, but I think this year it just caught up to them on the second and third and fourth, you know, as we went on. And then it all froze, and,
Right, and then
you
it
know,
was like a
became
glacier.
ice, and it was much more difficult to deal with. But I do know after the first big storm, they were out there on that Friday night. I think he went out about,
I think they
forget
were
what
out there at
time.
least twice doing that.
But they bring the guys in, you know, because there's too many cars otherwise, and you have to make sure nobody's parked there. So it is difficult to do, and it caught up to them. But they've done a heck of a job, even given what they have.
No, always they do a great job.
You know, and I think the other issue is that the amount of snow we've had and the amount of ice we've had has made it, you know, it's one thing to remove snow, but some of this ice has been a couple inches thick, and it's been very difficult for anybody, even a household owner or a business or the DPW to do it. So, okay, anything else?
They've actually had, unfortunately, things go against them. One of our salting trucks, which is a dump truck, caught fire during the plowing procedures and had to be, the police escorted them, saved bringing a big wrecker in, and they used their big machine to tow it back to the DPW to save a towing fee. And like I said, they've had so many things go against them, but they've done a good job.
I know that somebody had brought up, why don't we use garbage trucks to plow? And over the years, what we have found is that if you use a garbage truck, which is heavier to plow, it tears up the transmission, and then you have an added cost for repairing that transmission significantly of thousands of dollars that you don't get a benefit from using those. But you're right, we had a dump truck that was salting go up and fire department responded, and then it was towed back to the yard. So it's been a tough winter. Any other item for the agenda?
Your Honor, I move we close the agenda session.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We're going to open it to the public for any questions, comments.
Good evening, Beatrice Moskowitz, 279 Middlesex Avenue. A la your conversation just recently, I'd like to thank Mr. Borth and Ms. Harris. Apparently, before I purchased my home, so it had to be sometime in the 70s, they took a piece of my corner to put up the lamppost and the traffic light. So they purchased it from the homeowner at the time, but more importantly, they put something into the grading of the corner that literally melts down the snow or keeps it from piling up. There is no ice there. Unless, of course, when I called Mr. Borth at one time, because what happens is that one portion of the sidewalk is, of course, clearer. The young man who comes and does the rest of my sidewalk does not want to address going from the corner part into the street, and because the snows have been so excessive, you literally could stand on the corner, but in order to get back across the street, you'd have to jump over the snow. Anyway, so I called Mr. Borth about that whole situation. It was cleared and taken care of. So two parts to this is, whatever that was purchased was really done a long time ago. Is there anything out there that's as effective that you could put on your corners here in town that might be cost-effective? And/or were you responsible for fixing the rest of it, or did the thing work more so that the corner into the street was taken care of? Do you recall? So then it had to be Katie?
know. I'm sorry.
Katie, you said that it was DPW who?
I believe DPW went out and
Yes,
took
they
care of
they
it.
did go out.
I can tell you they've been out. I see them sometimes when I was on my way to high school a number of times. They are out on those corners digging out. They try to do all the routes to school.
Right, 'cause
so
it's the
my guess
traffic
is
light
because
right
that's
on
the way to
Grove.
high school, they probably went out and got to that. But they do try to get those so that you can, because you're right, the property owner has to deal with up to the street,
Correct.
but there's always a big clump of snow. So I know they were out doing a lot of the intersections. I know they were struggling to get to all of them, but
Right,
they
because
were.
when the state purchased the corner, they obviously didn't think that this would happen
No,
to
they
go
just plow us in.
into the street. But it's something to look into if they have materials like that available for the rest of the corners in town. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Hearing none, I'm going to close that section of the meeting.
We now have is that you or me? I don't remember.
That's you.
We now have the public hearing on ordinance number 2014-1, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
The first one we did?
Yep.
Wow, we're going slow this year. Katie, if you could present the affidavit of publication.
Said ordinance has been published one time in the Home News Tribune according to law on February 14th, 2013.
I move the affidavit be received and filed.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Katie, if you could read the ordinance by title.
Ordinance number 2014-1, an ordinance creating the Borough of Metuchen Accessibility Committee.
Your Honor, I move that the ordinance, oh, never mind. I'm jumping the gun.
I'm going to open it to the public on this ordinance and this ordinance only. This is an ordinance that will provide and create a committee which will look at accessibility for handicapped people in town to make sure that we are doing our best with providing that for all of our handicapped folk in town. Hearing no one coming forth, I'm going to close that section of the meeting.
Your Honor, I move the ordinance be passed on second reading and published according to law.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's a roll call vote.
Councilman Grazel.
Yes, if I may, Mayor, I'd like at this time to publicly acknowledge the role that former Councilwoman Sherry Rose Rubin played in making this happen. As many people know, she's an advocate for the disabled, and it's her hope that this commission can help bring together advocates for a barrier-free Metuchen. And I think she should be commended for her actions. And as everyone knows, fortunately, she has volunteered to serve on the commission, so we look forward to this valuable new commission in the Township of Metuchen. And again, I vote yes.
Councilwoman Insero.
Mayor, I actually have a statement from former Councilwoman Sherry Rose Rubin. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here tonight, but she was planning to, so she asked me to read the following statement. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for passing tonight's ordinance. It has been a goal of mine for many years that this body recognize the needs of our residents and visitors with disabilities. The establishment of this new council means that the needs of this group will finally be seen as important as the needs of our artists, our library, our street, and our environment. It is often believed that folks with disabilities are not active members of their communities. However, the things that keep people with disabilities from fully participating in civic, social, and community events are usually the lack of accessibility, inclusion, and acceptance. It is not possible for a person with a physical disability to attend town-wide events if the streets, sidewalks, stores, and restaurants are not accessible. If there is no parking close to shopping, a person with a disability cannot shop local, even if he or she wanted to. There are many barriers to full participation that people with disabilities face, but it is not until we ask them personally exactly what these barriers are that we can address them. The truth is that people with disabilities and their family members are the only ones who even notice the barriers. With the passage of tonight's ordinance, we will finally have advocates sanctioned by the borough and appointed for the sole purpose of making Metuchen more welcoming to all. I so look forward to serving on this commission and hope for many productive years ahead. Thank you so much, Sherry. And I can't say anything to follow that, so I will simply vote yes.
Councilwoman Rasmussen.
Before I vote yes, I want to let you know that I'm extremely excited that we're doing this. I actually have a cousin with a disability. She has cerebral palsy, and I went one time with her to Princeton to have something to eat and to go to a show there, and there was nowhere for me to park. And I was afraid to leave her. You know, she's on crutches and everything. I was afraid to leave her there by herself while I found parking, and it was just very distressing to me. And I'm so glad that Metuchen is on the ball and ahead of Princeton. So I'm going to vote yes.
Councilman Wallace.
I would also like to compliment former Councilwoman Rubin. I vote yes.
Acting Council President Camerano.
If I don't say something nice about Sherry, I look bad because everybody else did. I would like to acknowledge her role in bringing this to our attention, but also her diligence in pursuing it. It took longer than we all thought it would, but she really would not let go of it. So I'm glad she didn't. It kept us all focused on where we need to be, and it's another ordinance that kind of puts us at the forefront of accessibility issues, which we've tried to do with our sidewalk program and others. So with that, I vote yes.
I don't get a vote. I would be voting yes if I had a vote, but I wanted to thank former Councilwoman Rubin for making sure that we've stayed focused, and I look forward to this committee. Next meeting, we will be appointing members and associate members to the committee so that they could start their work. And thank you to Sherry Rose. So the motion passes 5-0, and now we have a commission. Okay.
I move the communications consent agenda, items 4 and 5.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Before we do the next item, I just want to make sure, I don't see it in our packet. Do we have the report of the financial officer?
No, that's an error left on from the last council meeting.
Okay, so we're actually going to remove that from the
Okay.
agenda. I thought I was going crazy through the papers over here.
Okay, we have now the reports of the council. Council President?
Your Honor, I do not have a report. The library board, the pool commission, and the EMS all meet later in the month, so I have nothing to report.
Okay. Councilman Wallace?
I really have no report, Your Honor. All the meetings are later this week and next.
Okay. Councilwoman Rasmussen?
Okay, I have a report. The Development Commission is meeting on Wednesday, and we are going to proceed with our business inventory project, and it will include mapping the locations of all of our businesses and categorizing them as to type, etc. The Shade Tree Commission discussed spring planting. We will be planting mostly homeowner requests and a couple of Tree of Life requests. And I want to let everyone know that Arbor Day is April 25th, 2014. We will be working with the Borough Improvement League to acquire 1 or 2 trees donated for our event. The trees will be planted on the property of the old schoolhouse in an appropriate location. We also hope to include local scouting groups to join in our ceremony. We continue to work with the zoning officer on the tree removal / tree trimming permit. He would like the Shade Tree Commission to develop a list of FAQs, FAQs, now I have a blank. Oh, frequently asked questions. To answer questions residents may have concerning tree care, trimming, mulching, etc. Maybe we could post it on our borough webpage. Also, starting with our April meeting, the Shade Tree Commission will move our meeting to the second Wednesday of the month. And also, I was going to ask about the Shade Tree statute, specifically Chapter 181. Maybe we could review it and update to reflect current shade tree practices and the standard operational procedures to be followed in our spring and fall planting. So I don't know if that's something we can look at to see if we could update it.
Yeah.
And just, we'll see.
We'll ask the attorney to take a look at it.
Okay, that's great. Now, the Environmental Commission met, and one of our members will be attending a seminar on March 22nd through Rutgers Cooperative Extension on how to set up a rain barrel at your home to save rainwater to, say, water lawn and flowers and decrease the amount of water that goes into storm sewers. Rain barrels are a great tool for promoting water conservation and reducing storm water runoff in a community. The goal of the Rain Barrel Train the Trainer program is to provide the Environmental Commission members, recycling coordinators, et cetera, tools to teach their communities about environmental benefits of rain barrels. And we would like to do a demonstration for Earth Day. Also this weekend, I attended the breakfast fundraiser for Breaking the Chain at the Centenary Church on Hillside Avenue. It was a very successful fundraiser, and members of the congregation said that they would like to schedule a spring family-oriented fundraiser to raise money for the same cause. And I would like to remind people to please continue to participate in recycling, to promote saving the environment and saving all of our tax dollars. Together, we can make a difference. And even though the Chamber did not meet since our last council meeting, I have a couple of things. Please support our local businesses by spending your money here or by purchasing Chamber gift certificates, because all that money comes back, you know, to our town. And also, the Chamber now has family memberships. The cost is $75 with a give back of $20 in the form of a gift certificate. And that is my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Insero?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to announce that this week you'll see flyers go up on the Metuchen, Edison, and Woodbridge websites about an open house on Tuesday, March 18th between 5 and 7:30 about our Middlesex Greenway project with Together North Jersey. So they're looking for everyone to drop in for just a few minutes, even with your kids. You don't need to get a babysitter for the night. It's not going to take 2.5 hours. It's an open house. And give feedback to them on how you would like to enhance access and promote the Greenway, build on the public health benefits of this resource, and advertise the Greenway and local businesses as a tourism opportunity. So please put that down on your calendars, March 18th at the Senior Center from 5 to 7:30, and we will also have snacks, so please come. The Board of Health did not meet last month, but we're scheduled to have a meeting next month. The Metuchen Municipal Alliance meeting was canceled last night due to one of those big snowstorms on the second Thursday of February. So we're next scheduled to meet on March 13th. And the senior citizens would like to note that their Parkinson's support group is meeting on March 19th at 1 p.m. That group is proving to be a big success, and it's fulfilling a need in the community. Also on March 19th, the Student Outreach Club at the high school invites seniors to a special dress rehearsal and dinner at 5:30 p.m. of the high school production of Gypsy. This is always really popular. Sign-up begins tomorrow and ends on Friday, March 14th, so get your name in because space is limited. And of course, the free tax prep is still going on if you qualify on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Councilman Grazel?
Thank you, Mayor. The TV and Technology Committee met. We were discussing our last-minute plans for negotiations with Cablevision. We plan on meeting with them in the near future and to present a strategy for improving the overall technology of Metuchen to them. The Arts Council met. They discussed, once again, their ambitious plans for the next year in terms of music, art, and the performing arts. One of the essential components to a future downtown strategy will be the participation of the arts community because, as we know from Main Street USA and other such organizations, thriving downtowns always involve the participation of the arts community. So we look forward to their participation in our community discussion about improving and progressing with our downtown development. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Dennis, do you have any report?
No, I have no report, Mayor.
Bill?
I have no report.
I have a number of items tonight. First, yesterday, Councilwoman Rasmussen and I attended a ribbon cutting at the Le Gâteau Bakery across the street. It was really nice. You have to see this and go over there. There is a cake that is a model of the Borough Hall. It is a replica to-scale model of this building. It is fantastic.
And it's edible.
Yes, it's edible. The coffee is great.
Coffee was
The
amazing.
food is unbelievable. So please make sure you take a stop across the street and support that business. The Arts Council, this Saturday is the first day for decorating the tiles. So if you haven't gotten your applications in, there's still some room. I think it starts at 10 o'clock, but please support that project, which will be decorating the shed building up by the tennis courts. We've had a couple interesting weeks with DOT and the Bridge Street. We are very close to working with our police department and shutting the bridge twice. We had DOT come out, and the good part of this is that DOT now we have an email that says that they are going to resurface it in the spring, that they are taking responsibility for this orphan bridge, and they have been out 2 times already to fix the potholes. I know it's not a super smooth road right now, but it is better than the potholes that were there, and they have come out, as I said, 2 times to do this. The second time they came out is kind of interesting. They had an arm that shot the macadam and concrete in, and it almost dried instantly into the potholes.
I think you said on 27 a lot.
Okay, so it seems to be holding. The first time it didn't hold very well. They did just regular coal patch. But it's looking like it's holding, and hopefully in the spring they'll come back and resurface that. We also have a grant application in with our engineer for resurfacing the entire Bridge Street. And I know that our legislative group, assembly people, and senator have been in support of that with the DOT to support us getting that application approved for resurfacing that entire street. Last week, we had a very interesting meeting with some of the Pearl Street people. That is coming to fruition. They're looking to come to the planning board in early April with some definite plans. We have a select committee from the planning board that will meet with them to go over the plans before it comes to the general planning board meeting. The other meeting that we had was with the Renaissance with the district. And they are looking to move forward very quickly with an application. They're working with a food store and some other retail, and we're hoping that we'll see an application from them sometime late this spring, early summer. Due to the snow today, all state basketball games were canceled. And the reason I mention this is because now our girls will be playing at home tomorrow at 7 o'clock, our boys at 7 o'clock at Middlesex, and it could be a record-breaking day in that Cassie Smith may be putting in her 2,000th point. We wish her well, and hopefully she'll be scoring her 2,000th point tomorrow night at Metuchen High. She's a few points short of that mark. So it'd be an interesting night if you don't have anything to do, to come out and support our girls or our boys at Middlesex and see a record broken. The other thing I wanted to talk about is over the last few months, Council President Muldoon and myself have met with Bill and with our police department. We meet at least once a month, if not twice, working on pedestrian safety. We have new signs that will be coming in and going up, hopefully as soon as this weather breaks a little bit. We have 3 more flagged crossings that we're working with the Traffic and Transportation. We're working with Keep Middlesex Moving. We have, they donated another 50 flags for us. We have special holders being developed. We've also had one community seminar at the Senior Citizen Center, which Sergeant Flaherty and Officer Bauer did, which was very well attended and very well received. They're looking at doing another one at the Lincoln Avenue Apartments. They're also looking to work with Keep Middlesex Moving, who was involved in this seminar, about distracted driving at the high school and distracted walking at Edgar School. So we have a lot of things going on at one time. We also met with freeholder Jim Polos last week, asking for help with getting the county crosswalks painted and also getting replacements for the lit crosswalks that we have, the 2 that are not operating right now, and getting money for some of the other ones that we want to put in. So we have a large approach, many different things. As the freeholder said, there's no one silver bullet that will help us, but there's a whole wide approach that we could do to make Metuchen more pedestrian safety. The freeholder has worked with the police departments of New Brunswick, Edison, Highland Park, and Metuchen, and there's going to be a concerted effort. There's going to be training for our officers and a concerted effort about pedestrian safety on the Route 27 corridor. I believe we received a grant for $8,000 to apply for that, towards paying our officers, but it's going to be a concerted effort with all of those communities all along the 27 corridor, because we're not just in this alone, as you have said in the past. So we're working with our freeholders, we're working with Keep Middlesex Moving, and all of our police and enforcement. I know the numbers are up on summonses that were written for pedestrian safety, so we're moving in the right direction. And basically, that ends my report.
Your Honor, I just want to note that I've seen the police out doing a lot of crosswalk enforcement, pulling cars over that are not stopping for pedestrians lately. So clearly, we're moving in the right direction. The county program, is that an enforcement issue or education?
That's an enforcement.
Okay. I mean, it's an important tool.
It's an enforcement issue with all 4 of the towns, all the way from New Brunswick through Edison, the whole Route 27 corridor.
Specific to pedestrians, though?
Yes, specific
Wonderful.
to pedestrian safety.
That's great.
There will be a decoy and 2 officers or more in each town, depending on how the towns. It gives us some leeway. So if we want to have 1 decoy or 2 decoys in different spots, and officers that would respond when the decoy says, here's a car that didn't stop when there were pedestrians in the walk. So, but it will be not only us. There's actually a training session which the county is going to provide for our officers to make sure that they're trained in this, so that if anything does come to court, the person can't say, well, they didn't know what they were doing, and you know how things are today with challenges in court. And this will give our officers a training for doing this, participating in this program.
I think it's great the county has decided to get engaged. Unfortunately, we all know the county has the highest incidence of pedestrian
Right.
to vehicle collisions, so kudos to you for meeting with them, and I think it's great they're getting involved. Unfortunately, the enforcement piece is necessary. I wish we didn't have to do it, but you just have to reprogram people when it comes to the crosswalk. Stop.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as I said, I had somebody complain to me about the flags. The flag is not it's just one area that we're doing to try to make people aware. of it. It's still, a fact of looking and getting eye contact and crossing. Just like pushing the button downtown, you don't just walk out. You got to make sure you have eye contact and look at who's coming. You're dealing with a 3,000-pound car that you're dealing with, so you have a lot more to lose than the car does. So,
I would ask if there's something we can do for, and I'm not picking on commuters, but I come down Main Street all the time when there are trains coming through at night. First of all, everybody's wearing dark clothes and dark coats, so they're hard to see this time of year. But they literally will cross anywhere, even if they're 3 feet from the lighted crosswalk, they won't walk that extra 3 feet. And it is difficult for drivers as well. I don't know if there's any education we can do there, if there's anything we can do, but I've noticed it more and more. And because it's dark, I think it's a big problem we have. We've always had the problem.
I think one of the Keep Middlesex Moving programs, and we're going to have these CDs playing on our METV, addresses that.
Okay.
And they also call it distracted walking, too.
Yeah.
Somebody walking, listening to earphones or texting and then stepping out into the street. They're also going to be doing that with the high school with distracted drivers, and I think that's a very good thing to do also. So I think it's a multi-faceted approach, and as Bill Neary from Keep Middlesex Moving says, we are going to be the poster child for pedestrian safety in the county, and if not in the state. So I'm very happy with what's been developing over the time, in the short time that we've been working, really, focusing on this.
Mayor, the enforcement program on 27, that lasts for the rest of this calendar year?
We're going to continue it, but we have an $8,000 grant for paying the overtime for our officers,
Okay.
which is actually $4,000 more than we got last year.
Okay.
And that's partially because of our freeholder pushing. I think each town got a bit more so that they could focus on it.
But after our officers are trained, they can do it at other spots in town?
Oh, yeah.
Continue it?
It's
Okay.
not going to be,
Great.
and the other thing, I think they're going to start out on a Saturday where everybody's doing it, maybe Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
But then it's going to be alternated, so it's not like, well, Saturday, they're all out there.
Right.
Or Tuesday, they're all out there. It's going to be where the town has the option of which day, which spot to put the program in place.
Okay.
Okay?
Great.
And also, before we get off of our reports, I don't know if anybody mentioned that the Meet the Librarian is going to be on Saturday,
Oops,
I
I
believe at
forgot.
2 o'clock, to meet the new librarian. I don't know if anyone mentioned it.
No, I did not. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Okay.
Okay, Council President?
Your Honor, I move the consent agenda items A through J and L through M encompassing resolutions 2014-51 through 2014-60 and 2014-62 through 2014-64.
Is there a second?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's pay some bills.
Yeah, do we have to?
Yes,
Your Honor, I
we-
move the bill resolution in the amount of $6,224,508.01. Let's not forget that.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, it just struck me as kind of, even the IRS lets you round up or down.
Okay. We have some appointments. I'd like to move the appointment of Sharon Burke for Environmental, Hussein Ali Khan for Developmental, and Scott Director for Traffic and Transportation.
Before I second it, I would like to welcome Mr. Hussein Ali Khan. He knew he was being appointed today, so he thought he would come to our meeting.
Okay?
Your Honor, I move we consent with your appointments.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have no ordinances to introduce, but I'll open it to the public for any questions or comments.
Hello,
Mr. Khan,
I'm
just state your name and address.
Hussein Ali Khan of 15 Ohio Avenue, and I just wanted to thank Dorothy for putting me up for appointment for the Development Commission. We had a really neat conversation over at the Franklin School during one of the radio play events that I forget that guy's name, but the former raconteur. I just call him the raconteur. It's just like he puts on a great show. And we got to talking about some of the things that are happening in town, and I was really excited about the idea of helping out with the Development Commission. I've got a background in economic development and real estate development, and I'm looking forward to helping the Commission make some great ideas come to fruition. So thanks very much for my appointment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Hearing none, I'm going to close that section of the meeting.
Your Honor, before we adjourn, I would just like to mention one thing I should have mentioned during my report, but the Men's Club of the BIL is hosting a bubble hockey tournament for men at the end of the month. I think it's the 29th. For those of you who don't know what bubble hockey is, it's the arcade game that you used to play where you move the hockey guys around. So it's a bunch of grown men who are going to be playing arcade games. I'm not sure if there's any room left. It's been quite popular, but if you're interested, go on Facebook, and it's right on there with the Men's Club. So.
And also, before we adjourn, what happened to K Resolution 2014-61? Were we going to do that today, or is
No,
it
that
going
was pulled at the
Pulled,
agenda.
like, totally pulled, not to be done.
It was pulled during the agenda session.
Okay.
Your Honor, I move for adjournment.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.